All right, once again, without key players, the Toronto Raptors fall short against the Chicago Bulls, 118-95. Raptors record now 17-22. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raptors Night Cap. Randy Urban alongside Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Jack Armstrong. This one was a tough one, guys. Sherm, I'm going to start with you. Just your general assessments of the game tonight.
It's pretty simple. I mean, they just don't have enough talent right now to play at a winning level. And it's unfortunate. They're playing hard. You know, guys are trying to do the right thing. Norm and Kyle, they're trying to pull this thing along, but they just don't have the overall sustainable talent right now with the key guys out of the lineup. And I've said this before, you ask guys to play a peg up, that can happen for a little bit, maybe a game here, maybe parts of a game, but you start to extend that request over multiple games, and people understand that now they're a part of your regular rotation, and they really start to put pressure on those guys. It's hard for them to maintain that level above where they're used to playing. So It's just a tough situation for Nick. It's tough for the guys on the floor. It's not their fault. I mean, they're playing hard. They just don't have enough right now to get the job done consistently.
Jack, how would you characterize the game tonight?
Well, on both sides, I would give the Bulls a lot of credit. I thought they had great balance. And yet I would look at the Raptors and, you know, you just hope on Wednesday night, maybe the cavalry will arrive and you'll have some fresh troops to help reinforce. Here's the question I have, guys. You know, I look at the Raptors Bulls tonight, and if the Raptors have a fully healthy team, how many teams in the East are going to have a winning record? You know, I think that 6 to 7 spot, who knows? That spot might not have a winning record and get in the playoffs. So as much as it's frustrating right now to be 5 games under 500 right now, you get a healthy team, they could easily get back in this race and actually still have a 6, 7, 8 seed. So as frustrating as it is right now, let's not lose sight of that. So I agree with what Sherm said. I don't know if there's much more you can say other than the fact that, you know, the ball found a lot of people that just didn't make plays. And that's pressure maybe sometimes those guys aren't used to. And after a while, it's like a tsunami. Hard to, you know, just it's hard to overcome.
Well, and the other part of that too, Jack, is, Randy, to kind of jump on what Jack and Sherm were saying, you want to keep the positives, because the losing brings out the worst in everybody and the frustration level increases. You know, we see technicals, we see guys trying to hold each other accountable. And it's different when you only have, you do it occasionally and you're winning, but having to do it consistently and you're losing. And there's a frustration level. And I think the Raptors really have to manage that right now and understand that there are guys going to be coming back. They will have healthy bodies. So let's see, I keep saying this, keep the water right here. Keep it at the water line. Don't start to go under. See if you can, you know, they got Detroit coming up. They got a little time off, get a win, kind of get back on track, steady as she goes, 1 foot in front of the other. And I think, you know, tonight was a classic example. We look at the rebounding. We knew it was going to be a big deal. Chicago puts up a season high 60 rebounds. Although at halftime, the rebounding difference was 4 rebounds. And then it as Sherm said, over time, you just can't keep it up. Things don't go your way. And now you're kind of sliding and you're holding on. And the season has really gone like one of the Raptor games. Slow start, get back in it, and then slip. And that we've seen a lot of games like that. And the season has basically mirrored that.
Sherm, I was really impressed with Chicago's ability to move the ball. And then off the ball, they were cutting really well too. It seemed like the Raptors were a little bit turned around at times. Was it the changes in the starting lineup that caused this for Chicago? Because they did make a couple before.
I'll say this. I mean, on that level, with guys who have money, they have access, they have resources, they all really only want one thing. That's to play. They want minutes on the floor. And as a head coach in the NBA, you control that, and you can have a lot to say when it comes to players getting on the floor. And that's how you get their attention. And you know, Billy Donovan made some decisions to alter that starting lineup, and it's worked. He got great production off the bench from the guys who used to start. he got other guys playing well, and he got the starters to play well. So as of right now, it's working. And I think when you look at Chicago, to Jack's point, you do have to give them credit. I mean, this is a better ball movement team, a better off the ball movement team in terms of guys reading, reacting without the ball in their hands. And I think on a night where you don't depend on a Zach LaVine, who's averaging around 27, 28 points a game, and you get that many players in double figures, and you get that kind of performance, you got to think that Billy Donovan hit the right chord, and he's got these guys' attention now.
Yeah, Jack, is Chicago legitimate? Like, is this something that you think they can sustain?
They sure have the talent, and on paper they look like it, but when I watch them play, they still, like tonight they only turned it over 12 times, but they lead the league in turnovers. They still have plays where they're just irresponsible, and they don't respect the value of the ball. And a lot of times that comes with guys that have not won a lot as pros collectively, and guys that are just playing are super talented. And it's interesting. I was saying to myself, if you put Kyle Lowry on the Bulls, just put Kyle Lowry on the Bulls, what kind of team would they have? They'd have a winning team. With the talent they have, he'd knock heads. He would knock heads, and they would be held accountable, and they play with a lot more jam. Sometimes they don't play with a lot of juice. And I would say the same thing about a guy like Fred VanVleet. I think he'd bring them something. So to me, there comes a point, why is Toronto been so good for so long? I think a lot of it is not based upon what you look on a paper statistically, but it's based on soul. It's based on leadership and toughness. And when you take three really good high character guys like Siakam, Anunoby, and VanVleet out of the lineup, who really understand your system and they defend and do all those good things, it has a major impact on your program when you go out there to try to play.
Yeah, and Jonesy, that kind of brings me to my next thought, and that's just, as a fan watching this, you can't be too discouraged, right? Because you're missing so many key players, and you have to look at it really for what it is. I know they were in the game against Atlanta, and they probably should have won, but they're more or less, within striking distance for much of this game until the end, and for who they have out there, you got to be impressed with the way they're playing at some times.
Well, it's like, Jack's always said, in terms, been extolling that recently. The longer you go with subpar talent, the more you get exposed. I mean, the best way for me to beat Tiger Woods is have a putting contest with 2 balls. I might fluke one. I might make one. But if I go out and play him 18, I got no shot over that long haul. And you're right, Randy. It is kind of hanging on. And it's, look, a win against Atlanta would have done wonders. It would have stemmed the tide. But you think about a lot of these games, throw the Detroit game out. They were in the Boston game on the second night of the back-to-back the same way. They're leading it. They go into the break. They're leading Atlanta. They're in, they're basically in the game last night. And it's like all of them are kind of the same pattern. You get going and in the middle of the game, towards the end of the game, where the lights get bright and the exposure shows up, it's tough. And Raptor fans and players need to understand that. And what they can't do is fall into a portion where they stop, they kind of let go of the rope. You have to keep playing hard because, as Jack talks about all the time, those are habits, and those are good habits. When you get everybody back and you have more guys doing that, you're going to be okay.
Then Sherm, that leads me to this. What player did you get encouragement from when you're watching today that you're like, okay, this is going to be good when the reinforcements do come?
You know what, Andy, I don't even really look at it that way. I mean, I see what Norm's doing. I see what Kyle is doing. And, when the guys are back healthy, that those guys are going to continue to play at a high level. And I think when you look at the rest of those guys, they're so out of sorts right now because the expectation about what they think needs to happen for them, it's a little bit too high. And that can make them play in a way that's not conducive to them having success personally, or the Raptors as a team having success. So I really think this is about stabilizing the group when the other guys get back. And I don't think this is a time to panic. I really think that we've been spoiled. We've seen this team win a lot. We've seen them play games that look like they're not in it. They find a way to win. So this has been a long time since we as broadcasters and fans have seen the Raptors struggle like this, but it's not for no reason. And I think that the guys who are playing right now and trying to make up the difference, no disrespect to them, but they're just not talented enough, at least not as talented as the guys that the Raptors are missing. And when those guys come back, I think they stabilize the group. Everybody falls back into place. And all of a sudden now you see that team that understands who they are in a more complete fashion.
Jack, you want to build off that?
No, I mean, I think Sherman nailed it. I mean, bottom line, I think we've all been spoiled here the last 7+ years.
Yeah.
And Jonesy and Sherm, I mean, I remember standing with you guys at Game 5 doing
Oh, Jack, don't go there, Jack.
on Raptors TV for an hour, not a half hour, an hour.
An hour.
When the team was 22 and 60, Jack. Yeah.
And you know, so we understand the highs and lows of it. And, you know, there's been a lot of people that have jumped on the bandwagon here the last 7+ years. And it's been a great run. And who's to say they get healthy and they start making another run. But it makes you really appreciate how great a run this has been. And the Raptors are trying to make a push here to get to their 8th straight playoff, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
In an era where people kind of reload, rebuild quick, and a lot of times you dip. I mean, look at the Lakers before LeBron got there.
Sure.
They had a long run. Look at the Knicks. Look at the Bulls. They've had a lot of lousy years. So respect what the Raptors have done. It's been great.
Look, Randy, I say it all
Jonesy,
the time.
about 20 seconds.
You buy the house, you pay the mortgage. Think of all these teams that have won and then had to back up and try to do it all again. San Antonio Spurs, Miami Heat, Dallas Mavericks, you go through the Lakers, and Toronto's kind of in the throes of that now, but not all them, partially because of the injuries and the health and safety protocol.
You're right. Well, guys, I appreciate you doing this. A couple days off, so we'll see you Wednesday night. Raptors take on the Pistons, 7 p.m. See you then.
Thanks for watching. You can click to watch our last episode or to subscribe to the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode.